Right. Good evening, everyone. Welcome you to the discussion of another grade 9 second term paper. Right. As we did some such discussions last month also, this is not going to be your very first experience in answering a second term paper. Right. Therefore, in this discussion, Pute, the specialty is I have provided the paper to be answered. Then you are here with the questions answered and ready to get your answers evaluated. Therefore, this is going to take less time when compared to the other discussions for them. This week, today, we are going to engage in recorded discussion පුතේ right අපි මේ අද කරන්නේ recorded discussion එකක් right from next week onwards we are going to have live discussions as usual right okay then පුතේ we are getting ready for the term test right for the second term evaluation since 1 or 2 months time. Therefore, you already know which kind of questions you get at the examination from the second term lesson, especially as you have already experienced it. Therefore, this is actually I like to call it as one of the best papers, right? හොඳම papers වලින් එකක් පුතේ, which is Sri Rahula Balika Vidyalaya. Kadwell is on second term evaluation of a certain year. I'm sorry, I can't remember what the year is, but however. You know the content already. Therefore, now we are going to discuss the first part of the questions. Tikak වේගෙන්. Right. Pute, you have to identify the scientific notation of the given number. This is a number which is less than 1, which is 0.068. Right, always when you write a number in scientific notation, it's compulsory to write it as a product of a number between 1 and 10 and a power of 10. Therefore, the number which lies between 1 and 10, which you can form by using 0.068 is 6.8. Since 6.8 should be divided by 1, 2, the power of 10 with 2 zeros, right? Division by the power of 10 with 2 zeros will be given by multiplication by 10 to the power 2. Simply, it's 2 places to the left, Nisa. You have to multiply it by 10 to the power minus 2. Therefore, the correct choice should be Roman number 2. Right? In the next one, you can directly say what the value of x is because of the parallelism. X and 70 degrees become a pair of corresponding angles. Therefore, x is equal to 70 degrees. Reasoning is a must put because it's a direct answer. Pairs of corresponding angles. Right. In the third one, you have to find 5/8 of 1000 liters of means multiplication. Therefore, it should be 5/8 into 1000 liters. Right, you can divide the pairs with common factors. If you don't know how many 8s are there for 1000, you can divide 8 and 1000 by 4 firstly. 4 times 2, 4 times 25, 250. And once you divide 250 by 2, you get 125. Therefore, by multiplying 125 by 5, you'll get 625 in liters. පුතේ මම මේ වේගින් කතා කරන්නේ because you are here with the answers. Then you have to find the circumference of a circle with the radius of 4 centimeters. There's a very nice formula for the circumference of any circle with the radius known, which is C equals 2 phi r. Phi always stands for 22/7, which is a constant. Therefore, it is 2 into 22/7 into the 14 is the radius. You can divide 7 and 14 by the common factor they have, which is 7. 7 times 2, right? Then the answer you get is 2 times 22 is 44. 44 times 2 is 88. Circumference is the perimeter of a circle. Therefore, it's a length. You have to leave the same unit as the radius. The next question is a factorization, Pute. In grade 9 or in any grade, Pute, there are 4 common types of factors. Common factors, 4 terms in pairs, trinomial quadratic expressions and difference of two squares. Since x squared and 16 don't have a common factor, Pute, you count and see how many terms are there. Right, the number of terms is 2. Those two terms have been connected by subtraction. Therefore, it's going to be a difference of two squares. X squared is already in the squared form, and 16 can be given as a square, which is 4 squared. Then once you write it as a product of two factors, it should be x minus 4 into x plus 4. අපි මේක ඉගෙන ගත්තේ in the first term of grade 9. Right. Now we are going to see another such set of questions of the same paper. Right. Oh no, this is an unfamiliar concept. Actually, this is going to be our next discussion, which is graphs. Right, Pute, graphs කියලා කියන්නේ, you can remember the lesson of Cartesian plane. Right, if you get a set of points, when they are connected together, if you get a straight line or a curve with a special shape, we call it as a graph. නිශ්චිත හැඩයක් තියෙනවා නම්, if it has a standard shape, we call it a graph. Right? Usually a graph is obtained, you get a very special shape when the points are connected if the coordinates have a relationship. When x and y coordinates have a relationship, x and y coordinates have a relationship, you get a slant line as you learn in grade 9. මෙන්න මේ වගේ ඇල රේඛාවක් ඔයාලට ලැබෙනවා on the Cartesian plane. Right, when you get the straight line, right, in this form, we say the relationship y and x coordinates have is given in this form. Y coordinate will be equal to a certain number multiplied by the x coordinate plus or minus a certain number. Right, m and c represent two numbers, two constant numbers. Therefore, depending on what m and c are, how you draw this slant line will depend. Right, මෙන්න මේ m කියන symbol එකට, or the multiplier of x is called as the gradient. ඒක note down කරගන්න පුතේ. And the number which is added to the x term is called as intercept. Right, therefore, when you get the equation for y in terms of x, the multiplier of x is the gradient. Here it's 2. The number which is added to the x term is called as the intercept. Here it's minus 5. Right, ඔන්න ඔයාලා දෙයක් ඉගෙන ගත්තා even before learning this lesson properly. The next question is to multiply or to get the product of these two brackets, which is 3 minus x into x plus 4. But when you multiply, you have to select the first term by which you multiply the second term, then the second term of the first bracket by which you repeat multiplying the second bracket. Therefore, it should be 3 into x plus 4 minus x into x plus 4. When simplified, you will get 3 times x 3x, 3 into 4, 12, minus x squared minus 4x. But here you can simplify the like terms, right, which are the x terms, 3x minus 4x. Since 3 is plus, 4 is minus, there's a conflict. Minus, that difference is 1. Therefore, what remain of x terms is minus x. Therefore, I'm going to write the terms this way. 12 minus x squared minus 6 is the final answer. Right. The employee received 15,000 rupees salary for 10 days. You have to find the salary for 3 days. If 10 days salary is equal to 15,000, you can find the salary for 1 day by dividing 15,000 by 10. Then to make it the total for 3 days, you have to multiply it by 3. Actually, by cancelling 1 0, you'll get 1,500. 1,500 into 3 is equal to 4,500. Right. The next one. You have to evaluate 3 minus x into 2 plus 6 when x is minus 4. පුතේ මේක ඇත්තටම ලේසි. If you don't remove brackets and simplify, මෙහෙමම substitute කරනවා. Right, here you get 3 minus x is equal to minus 4. Therefore, it should be 3 minus minus 4 into 2 plus x is minus 4. Right? You know that subtraction is converted into adding the additive inverse. Therefore, what you get for the first bracket is 3 plus 4, which is 7, into, this is already an addition, 2 and minus 4 when added. With the conflict, the greater type only remains. Vadipuri in a minus, the difference of 2 and 4 is 2. Therefore, it should be 7 into minus 2, which is minus 14. Right. In the next question, you have to find what x is. It's a simple equation which you have to build up to find what x is. X plus 35 plus 90 degrees is equal to 180 degrees because of sum of the interior angles of a triangle. Then x plus 125 degrees is equal to 180 degrees. By subtracting 125 from 180 බලන්න ඔයාලට ලැබෙනවද කියලා පුතේ 55 degrees as the value for x. Right. Done. Now we are going to see another 5 questions of the discussion. Puthi, remember what we know is more than what we don't know because we have only a few lessons left to discuss in the second term. And in most of your exams, Puthi, the full content is not questioned. Therefore, අපි ඔක්කොම cover කරනවා පුතේ in the month of July itself. ඒ අතරේ අපි papers through we are going to revise the lessons that we have discussed so far and we are going to get an idea about the upcoming discussions also. The 11th question is to write පුතේ මම මේක වෙනම solve කරන්නම්. 3 into x to the power minus 2 with positive indices. Right, Putte, the only part with only power with negative indices is x to the power minus 2. Once you take the reciprocal form, that means if you take it down, the index will turn into a positive. Therefore, it should be 3 already. 3 is already with the positive index, which is 3 to the power 1. Once you take x to the power minus 2 down, it will turn into x to the power plus 2. Right. The next question is a basic calculator question. පුතේ දැන් මේක නම් ඔයාලට just answer කරන්න පුළුවන්. Right? I'll provide the ways of performing the keys, pressing the keys to perform some special calculations as you have to learn in grade 9 before your examination through a note or පුංචි වෙලාවක් අරගෙන අපි discussion එකක් ගමු. As an extra session, it's not going to be that difficult. Right? Because you know how to operate the calculator. Firstly, you switch on the key. Then by pressing 9 and 5, with addition, what you do is you are going to add a number to 95. What is the number to be added? 68. Right here you have to write the answer. And therefore, what you have to do is only adding 95 and 68. 5 plus 8 is 13 with 1. 9 plus 6, 15 becomes 16. Therefore, the outcome will be 163. The students from my physical class, since you have got the paper printed, on the blank provided you have to write the answer. Right. The 13th question is to round off 5.47 to the nearest whole number, then to the nearest first decimal place. But when you round off a number to the nearest whole number, there cannot be a decimal period. Therefore, you observe the first digit in the decimal period. Here it's 4, which is less than 5. Therefore, you can simply disregard the decimal period as the first digit is 4. The answer will be 5. As 4 is less than 5. Then once you round it off to the first decimal place, Putte, you have to look at the second decimal place. Since the second decimal place of this number is 7, which is more than 5, right? If the district that you observe is, if the place that you observe is 5 or more, if the place that you observe is 5 or more, you have to round it off to the greater number. That's what you have to do. Therefore, since 7 is more than 5, you have to consider the greater value of 4, which is 5. Therefore, it should be 5.5. Right. Right. In the 14th question, you have to find the volume of a tank in liters when the length, breadth, height are given in centimeters, right? When it's volume, always there's one formula which comes into our mind, which is length into breadth into height, where you have to multiply these three measurements in the same unit together, right? 3 times 4, 12. 12 into 1 is 12. With 3 zeros, it's 12,000 cubic centimeters. But since it's to be given in liters, as liters and milliliters are related, you can convert cubic centimeters into milliliters. As they have a one-to-one relationship, it will be the same value in milliliters. And when it's converted into liters, divided by 1000 will give 12 as the answer, right? The 15th question is from a very recent discussion, which is exterior angle theorem. Whenever you see a triangle with one side produced, like this one has got a produced side, you can see an exterior angle in this triangle. With an exterior angle obtained, remember the easiest and the simplest theorem which you can apply to solve the problem is the exterior angle theorem, right? According to the exterior angle theorem, the exterior angle 110 is equal to the sum of its two interior opposite angles, which are A and 70, right? Obtained by disregarding the adjacent angle. The remaining two are the interior opposite angles for the relevant exterior angle. Therefore, when you build up an equation for the 15th question, it should be the sum of A and 70 is equal to 110 degrees. Then you get A equals 40 degrees. Right. Now we'll see the last 5 questions of the first paper. Sandhuni received 120 euro from her father, who's abroad. You have to convert this amount into Sri Lankan rupees when 1 euro is 195 rupees. Since 1 euro is 195, as she receives 120 euros, you have to multiply 195 from 120. පුතේ මේක multiply කරනකොට ලේසිම ක්‍රමය තමයි you can disregard this 0 and multiply 195 by 12. Later you can add 1 0. Right? 5 times 2, 10. With 1, 9 times 2, 18 becomes 19. With 1, 2 times 1 becomes 3. 1 times 5, 5. 1 times 9, 9. 1 times 1, 1. When added together, you will get 14, 13, and 2. But you have to add 1 0 when you finalize the answer. Therefore, it should be 2, 3, 4 with 2 zeros, which is 23,400. Right. The 17th question is from lossy, right? But there are 4 basic lossy in math. The first one is for 1 point, which is a circle or an arc. The second one is for 2 points, which is the perpendicular bisect of the line connecting the points. The third one is for 1 line, which is a pair of parallel lines. The fourth one is for 2 intersecting straight lines, which is the angle bisector. Balanna, in your first paper, Pute, you get a question from one of these 4 basic lossy or the combination of 2 of these 4 basic lossy. Constructions ahanne pute ahanne me hataren eka. Look at the description. The distance between A and B is 7 meters. A and B are 2 houses, like 2 points, which are 7 meters away. Right? Then you have to fix a lamp post which is equidistant from A and B. Right? එතකොට මේ description එකේ කියන විදිහට A is a house, B is another house, which are 2 points. Right? Since this lamppost should be equidistant from A and B, and also 4 meters away from A. This is the combination of two lossy puthe. Right, let me explain it to you properly, sharing my constructions pad. I think you can see my constructions pad now. ඉතුරු පුතේ මේ question එකේ තියෙන්නේ that A and B are 2 points. A and B are 2 points which are 7 meters apart from each other. Two houses are always 2 points. Right, first condition is that you have to locate the lamppost equidistant from the two houses. As the two houses are 2 points, the locus for 2 points is the perpendicular bisector of the line connecting the 2 points. Even though you don't have enough space on the paper itself, you must perform these construction lines correctly. You measure more than half of this line. භාගයකට වඩා measure කරගෙන you have to draw two arcs on either side of this line. Then with no gap change, you have to change the center to B. Then you have to continue with another two arcs intersecting the two arcs which you drew before. හැබැයි අමතක කරන්න එපා පුතේ, if the arcs don't intersect, අපි අතින් produce කරන්නේ. You must move back to the initial point to produce the arc using the pair of compasses only. Then once you connect these points together, right, if you mark any point on this line, such a point will be at equal distances from both A and B. මේකේ පළවෙනි condition එක okay, equidistant from A and B. The second condition is that it should be 4 meters away from A. පුතේ, A is a single point. The locus for a single point is an arc or a circle with the relevant radius. Since that point should be 4 meters away, you have to draw a circle with the radius of 4 meters. එතකොට අපිට 4 meters පුතේ we can't measure even 1 meter. But this is a question of like body estimation based question එකක්. Then since the distance from A to B is 7 meters, as the vertical line is the perpendicular bisector, it divides AB into two parts. Therefore, මෙන්න මේ වගේ දෙකක් 3.5 වෙනවා. Right, half of 7. Therefore, in order to estimate 4 meters, ඔයාලා ඊට වැඩිය චුට්ටක් gap එක expand කරගන්න ඕනේ. Then with that gap expanded, if you like, you can draw the full circle. Right, sorry. You can put a unnecessary line එකක් ඇඳුනා, but there's no way that I can erase it. මට erase කරන්න විදිහක් නැහැ this blue line. Therefore, I'll change the color of the pen of the circle that I'm going to draw. මෙන්න මේ වගේ circle එකක් ඔයාලට අඳින්න පුළුවන්. Disregard this blue line. Right, මේ blue line එක disregard කරන්න. ඒක මට undo කරන්න බෑ. Right, since both conditions should be satisfied, lamp post should be on both the circle and the perpendicular bisector. මේ තියෙන පුතේ ආගේ පළවෙනි location එක. මේ තියෙන ආගේ අනිත් location එක. Equidistant from the two points and 4 meters away from A. කියන එක ඔයාලට මෙන්න මෙහෙම indicate කරන්න පුළුවන්. It's a very nice question. Right. Now we'll move back to our paper. අපි ආපහු යමු අපේ paper එකට. Right. I think you can see the screen. Now we are in the 18th question. It's a very simple question, but the lazy question එකක්. In the diagram, XA is equal to BY. If XY is 20 centimeters, and BY is 4 cm, then XA is also 4 centimeters long. You have to find what AB is. They make axioms පාවිච්චි කරන්න තියෙනවා, but that much is not really expected here because you can see what the answer is going to be. You can subtract the sum of 2 4s from 20. 2 4s are equal to 8, then 20 minus 8 is equal to 12 centimeters. Right. Now we are going to see the last two questions of the first paper. The cost of a television is 28,000 rupees. the price is marked at the sale, keeping a 10% profit. You have to find what the selling price is. For the cost of a television, 28,000 can, the buying price of the television is 28,000 rupees. Then, if it's marked keeping a profit of 10%, you have to find the 10% profit included selling price. Since it's a question including a percentage, you have to see what that percentage is. It's profit. The profit is usually valid for the buying price, profit, and here selling price. Ek mark price kela name kalat come up na, right? Then 10% means if you bought at 100%, the profit is 10%. Including 10% profit, the selling price will be 110%. Since the cost or the buying price of the television is 28,000, in order to find the selling price, you divide 28,000 by 100 and multiply it by 110. Firstly, you can cancel the common zeros and multiply 28 by 11 pute. 8 times 11 is equal to 88 with 8 remaining. 2 times 11, 22. 22 plus 8 is 30. You have to add these two zeros. Therefore, it should be 30,800 rupees. Or you can find 10% profit as 2,800 and add it to 2,800. Again, you'll get the same answer. Right. The 20th question is to find the value of A and B. Puthe, there's no way that you can find A. Apita පටන් ගන්න වෙන්නේ B වලින්. Right? To find B, you have to consider the angles on a straight line, where you get 2B plus B plus 39 degrees equals 180 degrees. Then here you get 3B, and once you subtract 39 from 180, you'll get 141 degrees. Then to find B, you have to divide 141 by 3. බලන්න ඔයාලට ලැබෙනවද කියලා පුතේ. 3 times 4, 47 degrees. Right? Now you can use this information to find what A is. මන් දකින ලේසිම ක්‍රමය තමයි පුතේ pairs of vertically opposite angles. Since A is vertically opposite to the sum of B and 39, A is going to be equal to B plus 39. Right? Then A is equal to B is 47 plus 39 will become 16, 8, 86 degrees. Done. On පුතේ, we ended the discussion of the first paper successfully like this. Right? එතකොට මේකේ මම කතා කරපු ආසම ප්‍රශ්නේ තමයි the 17th question of constructions. Right? If you did not get the way of answering it, please follow this recording for another time in order to catch up the way that I explained, the way of identifying the construction steps to be followed. Right? Refer to the part of lossy, for basic lossy, especially for the first paper. Right. Now we are going to see the second paper of this discussion today. Then පළවෙනි question එක is not from a familiar lesson. The reason is ඒක අපි graphs වලට පස්සේ අපේ online extra session එකකින් කතා කරන lesson එකක්. Mostly it will be next week. Right? I'll take an extra session for you next week. I'll inform you when I'm going to have that extra session. The Pythagorean relation was identified by, firstly introduced by the Greek philosopher named Pythagoras. That's why we call it as Pythagorean relation or Pythagoras relation. One put introduction එකක් දෙන්නම් යාගෙන. Whenever you draw any right angle triangle පුතේ, one of the three angles is always a right angle, right? And the two sides of the triangle, including the right angle, are called as the sides including the right angle. Therefore, if this side is A, this side is B, A and B are the two sides, including the right angle of this triangle. Actually, they are the arms of the right angle. Disregarding these two sides, there's a side remaining which is opposite to the right angle. Athram puthe, that side which is opposite to the right angle is the longest side of a right angle triangle. යාට ලස්සන නමක් දෙනවා පුතේ, which is hypotenuse. ඔයාලා පුළුවන් නම් මේ summary එක ලියා ගන්න. Hypotenuse. Right? Hypotenuse is the side opposite to the right angle, being the longest side of any right angle triangle. Therefore, if the hypotenuse of this triangle is C, Pythagoras අඳුරගත්ත මෙන්න මෙහෙම relationship එකක් as a summary. If you square the two sides including the right angle, which are A squared and B squared, when you add them together, right, that sum becomes equal to the square of the hypotenuse. ඔයා ගත්ත දේ පුතේ. He explored this. He invented this. Invented නෙමෙයි, explored this. Right? This is true for any right angle triangle. Right? එතකොට එයා පැහැදිලි කළේ වෙන විදිහකට, but I explained it to you such that you can remember this formula until we learn it properly. The sum of the squares of the sides including the right angle of a right angle triangle is equal to the square of the hypotenuse. Right? Now, we are going to answer this question accordingly. Then, ඔයාලට මේක answer කරන්න පුළුවන් පුතේ. Right? Question number 1, part A. Okay. You got a booklet to write answers for the second paper at the physical class පුතේ. ඒ නිසා ඔයාලා මේ questions පුළුවන් ඒවා තෝරගෙන answer කරලා ඇති කියලා මම හිතනවා. Name the sides including the right angle. පුළුවන් නේ. The sides including the right angle are AB and BC. And part B, you have to name the hypotenuse. Hypotenuse is the side opposite to the right angle, which is the longest side out of the three sides. Then when you relate these by using the Pythagorean relation, you add the squares of the two sides including the right angle. AB squared, BC squared are added, and the result becomes equal to the square of the hypotenuse. It has a different definition. මේක වචනින් අපි පැහැදිලි කරන්න පුතේ වෙනස් විදියකට. Right? But this is just for you to remember the formula. Right? The way to enter marks මම ඔයාලට පසුව පැහැදිලි කරන්නම් පුතේ after explaining the answers for the next part of the question. Right? ඔන්න ඊළඟ කොටස පුතේ a construction. Right? The next part of the question is a construction. Putte, if you have not engaged in this construction yet, please pause this video, take the pencil and the pair of compasses to perform this construction. Right? Make construction ka perform karaganna, please. Right? Then after performing the construction only, you have to play this video back. Right? Now I'm going to show you the steps of the construction. Putte, then ඔයාලගේ paper එක ළඟ තියාගන්න. Because now I can't see the questions here, but I know the question. මං question එක දන්නවා. Right? හරි. Let me read the steps of the construction for you. මේකේ තියෙන්නේ පුතේ මෙන්න මෙහෙම steps ටිකක්. Right? Firstly, you have to draw a straight line segment of 8 centimeters length and name it as AB. Firstly, you draw a straight line with no measurement taken. Right? With no measurement taken. Then by using the pair of compasses, you have to measure an 8 centimeter gap to it. Right? Then by using arcs, you have to mark the gap of 8 centimeters on it. This is A, this is B. Right? As the question continues, my question එකේ කියනවා පුතේ මෙන්න මෙහෙම construct a 60-degree angle at A on AB. Right? Can you remember how to construct a 60-degree angle? We place the metal tip at the vertex with the small gap measured to the pair of compasses. You draw an arc. Then with no gap change, you place the metal tip at the point of intersection of the arc and the line to continue with another arc with the same radius. Then you have to draw the line connecting A and the point of intersection. Then make a if it's now you do it, you pause the video, perform these construction steps and play it back. Step right? Then you have to mark C such that AC is 5 centimeters long. You have to measure a 5 centimeter gap to the pair of compasses now. To locate C, 5 cm away from A Nisa, by taking A as the center, you have to draw an arc, and this is the triangle that you can complete after obtaining C. Right? Then you have to construct the locus of points moving equidistant from A and B. A and B can define karane putte 2 points, right? The locus for 2 points api first paper ke dit kata kala, and they were also A and B. The locus for 2 points is the perpendicular bisector of the relevant line. Therefore, you measure more than half of AB as the gap of the pair of compasses. Then by taking A as the center, you have to draw an arc on one side and also on the other side. Then, with no gap change, follow the same steps by taking B as the center. Right, we don't draw very long arcs. Api avashya pramaneta vitarai andinne. Right, then you have to keep these points connected. That's done. Then the next step to follow is ilangeke kiyane puthe, construct the locus of points equidistant from AC and AB. Puthe, AC is a straight line. AB is another straight line. You need to have the question sheet with you at this moment, or you have to listen to what I explain. What's described in part 5 as AC and AB are two lines. The locus for two lines is the angle bisector. Right? Then AC and AB. Therefore, you have to construct the bisector of this angle, which is CAB. AC and AB. Right. For that, we place the metal tip at the vertex of the angle, where the two lines meet. Then with a small gap measured, you draw an arc intersecting the two arms of the angle you bisect. Then by placing the metal tip at the points of intersections, you have to continue with another two arcs inside, intersecting each other. Once you connect the vertex and the point of intersection of the arcs, what you get is the angle bisector. Right? Then in the next step of the question, you have to mark the point of intersection of fourth locus and the fifth locus as L. L කියලා name කරන්නලු. Where the perpendicular bisector and the angle bisector meet is L. Finally, you have to draw the circle with the radius L. With the center L and the radius LA. Since L is going to be the center, you must place a metal tip at L. As LA is going to be the radius, measure LA gap to the pair of compasses and draw the circle. Puthe, you must get this outcome, right? Where the circle passes through A and B points. Right? If you got this outcome, you can have the total mark for the constructions question. Right? For the outcome of the construction, 10 marks. And for the three parts of a Pythagorean relation, 2 marks each. Then 2 times 3 questions, 6 marks altogether. The total will be 16. Not only for the outcome, you get 1 mark each. For the straight line, then for marking the angle, through arcs AC line, perpendicular bisector certain mark, angle bisector certain mark. mention AB line 1 mark. The angle of 60 degrees 1 mark, AC 1 mark, the perpendicular bisector 2 marks, then the angle bisector 2 marks. Right through 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Then for drawing the circle this way, you get the last 3 marks. That's done. Now we are moving back to the discussion or the continuation of the questions of the second paper. May api danna deval. Right? We'll answer them. Second question, part A, to simplify 2 and 1/3 divided by 1 and 7/6. 7/6 නම් පොඩ්ඩක් අවුලක් තියෙනවා පුතේ because this is an improper fraction but can't help. There's no issue because it's what's given in the paper. ඒ නිසා අපි ඒක ඒ විදිහට ලියාගමු. මං හිතන්නේ මෙතන වෙන්න ඕනේ පුතේ. I'm sorry. Nah, it's fine. You can keep it this way. අපි බලමු what happens. Into 1/4. Right? Then you know that it's compulsory to simplify the brackets first according to the Bodmer's theory. For that, you have to convert these into improper fractions. 2 times 3 is 6, 6 plus 1 is 7/6. Right? Divided by 1 times 6 is 6, 6 plus 1 is 6 plus 7 is 13. 13/6 multiplied by 1/4. Right? Since division is converted into multiplication, we don't change the first one. We convert division into multiplication by the reciprocal. 6 goes up, 13 goes down. This is to be simplified first and finally you multiply it by 1/4. You can cancel these two sixes. That's all. Then 7 times 1 is 7. 13 times 1 is 13. Multiplied by 1/4. Right? පුතේ මට මෙතන මෙන්න මෙහෙම mistake එකක් වෙලා තියෙනවා. I'm extremely sorry for that. Right? ලොකු වැරද්දක් වුණා. මම ඒක ටක් ගාලා correct කරන්නම්. Which is I wrote 6 as the denominator අර කොළුවේ තියාගෙන අර එරේ කොළුවේ තියාගෙන මම ඒක කළා. I'm so sorry for that. Here the fraction you get is 7/3 පුතේ. 7/3 divided by 13/6. Sorry, into 1/4. Then once converted into multiplication, it should be 7/3 into 6/13 into 1/4. Right? You can divide these two. 3 times 1, 3 times 2, where you get 14/13 into 1/4. Now you can divide 14 and 4 by 2, 2 times 2 and 2 times 7. Finally, you get 7 times 1, 7. 13 into 2 is 26. Therefore, it should be 26/7. Right. Done. Then part B. The general term of a number sequence is 3n minus 1. Can you put there? The nth term is 3n minus 1. You have to find which term 113 is. For that to find which term 113 is, which means we don't know the position. That means we don't know what n is. But we know that 113 is a certain term in this progression. Therefore, when the term is 113, to find which term it is, you have to build up an equation. Right? Then when solving the equation, you take 1 to the side of 113, where you get 114, which is equal to 3n. Then to find what n or the position is, you divide this by 3. It's divisible. 3 times 3 is 9, 2 remains. 2 and 4 make 24. When divided by 3, it's 8. Therefore, it's 38th term. Right? Then in the next question, when you convert this number into a binary number, a base 2 number, you must divide this number by 2 only with the remainders written in front. 2 times 24 is 48. There's no remainder. 24 divided by 2 is 12. No remainder. 12 divided by 2 is 6. No remainder. Right? 6 divided by 2 is 3. No remainder. 3 divided by 2 is 1. 1 remains. Right? Then 1 when divided by 2, there are no 2's for 1. 1 remains. And when you write these digits upside down, that is the binary number equal to 48, which is 1, 1, 0, 0, 0, 0 to the base 2. Right. The way to enter marks is පුතේ මේකේ ලකුණු ලැබෙන්නේ for the first answer. පළවෙනි answer එකට මම දෙනවා ඔයාලට ලකුණු 4ක්. For this one also you get 4 marks. With the division included, you get 3 marks for this answer. Right. Okay. Now we are going to see the third question of the second paper, which is from equations. First part is from equations. Taggala equations ටික පුතේ නිවැරදිව copy කරගන්න ඕනේ at your examination, because in copying if you make a mistake you will never get a mark. Okay? X plus 1 ටිකක් advanced question එකක්, divided by 2 minus 3 minus 2x divided by 3 equal to 7. Right? So, Putty, you have two x terms. Firstly, you have to gather them to have only one x term, right? But since x's belong to fractions, by subtracting the fractions only, you can have only one x term. But to subtract the fractions, the problem is they have unequal denominators. Therefore, firstly, we equal the denominators by taking 2 times 3 and 3 times 2. But you should not forget to multiply the numerators accordingly. හැබැයි පරිස්සමින්, because numerators are expressions. Therefore, I'm keeping brackets. The common denominator will be 2 times 3 or 3 times 2, which is 6. And I'm not going to simplify the brackets. Firstly, I'm going to write them properly. 3 times x plus 1, අපි number එක සාමාන්‍යයෙන් ඉස්සරහින් ලියන්නේ, minus 2 times 3 minus 2x equal to 7. Now you remove brackets. 3 times x, 3x, 3 times 1, 3, minus 2 into 3, minus 6, minus into minus plus, 2 times 2x is 4x over 6 equals 7. Right? Now you can gather the like terms. 3 and 4x when added, you get 7x. Plus 3 minus 6 is equal to minus 3. And meantime, you can cancel division by 6 by multiplying the other side by 6. Then 7 times 6 will be 42. Right? Then you take 3 to the other side, where you get 7x equal to 42 plus 3. Which is equal to 45, right? Make a fractional answer එකක් ලැබෙන්න පුතේ. Then in order to find what x is, you have to divide 45 by 7. Uh, 45 by 7, right? Then once you finalize the answer, you get x equal to, when it's given as a mixed number, 7 times 6, 3 remains out of 7. Right? 3x plus 3 minus 6 plus 4x, 3x plus 4x. දැන් මේ වගේ result එකක් ලැබුණම පුතේ අනිවාර්යයෙන්ම double check කරන්න, because it's like bit odd නේ. We did not get an integral result. Therefore අන්නේ වෙලාවේදී අනිවාර්යයෙන්ම ඔයාලගේ answer එක පුතේ double check කරන්න. Right? 3x, 3 minus 6 plus 4x added, right? Cross multiplied 42, 3 is taken, then you get 45 divided by 7, that's it. Right. Now we are going to see an equation including brackets. පුතේ brackets කියන equation එකකටයි දැන් අපි ඊළඟට යන්නේ. Right, usually when you get an equation including brackets, මම ඔයාලට කියලා තියෙන්නේ remove the brackets. 3 into x minus 1 minus 1 equals 20. They start from the innermost bracket. ඇතුළෙම තියෙන bracket එකෙන් පටන් ගන්න. 3 times x, 3 times minus 1. Here you get 3x minus 3 minus 1 into 4 is equal to 20. If you like, you can divide both sides by 4 because multiplication by 4 is the lastly performed operation. Any way you like. Then you get 4 into minus 3 minus 1 is equal to minus 4. Therefore, it should be 3x minus 4, which is equal to 20. Then when you remove brackets, you will get 12x minus 16 equal to 20. Once you take 16 to the other side, 12x becomes 36 as it's plus 16. By dividing both sides by 12, බලන්න ඔයාලට ලැබෙනවද කියලා. X has 3. Right. Let me be sure whether there's another part. No. පුතේ මේකේ මේ A කියලා තිබුණාට Roman number 1 කියලා තිබුණාට there's no Roman number 2. Therefore, it should only be Roman number 1, 2, 3. මොකද මේකේ ලොකු දෙයක් ඔයාලා question එක ඇතුලේ කරන නිසා. Right, I'm going to keep the mark centered. Right, for finding x correctly in the first part, ඔයාලට ලැබෙනවා ලකුණු 4ක්. Right, 3 marks for this solution because I need to have space for Roman number 3. Roman number 3 වලට මට space එක අවශ්‍යයි පුතේ because it's a pair of simultaneous equations. Right, copy the two equations correctly always at the examination. Right, that is C. The two equations are 3a plus 2b equal to 7, the first equation. And the second one is a minus 2b equal to 1, the second equation. A and B on the same side in the same order. Through all the the number of A's is not the same. Here you have 3a, here you have 1a. Therefore, they cannot be eliminated. But the number of B's is the same. You have 2B, 2B each. Since the one above is plus 2B, the other one is minus 2B. Due to having unequal signs, you can add the two equations to cancel the 2B terms. Therefore, you explain it. By 1 plus 2. By 1 plus 2, you get 3A plus 2B is added to A minus 2B. On the other side, you get 1 plus 7. Right? Plus 2B minus 2B cancel. That's what we wanted to get done. Right? Then 3A plus A is equal to 4A. 4A becomes 8. When you divide the two sides by 4, you will get A as 2. Right? Then I'm going to substitute. You are not to answer these in columns. You must answer these parts underneath. By substituting A equals 2 in the second one, equation which is A minus 2B equal to 1. Since A is equal to 2, 2 minus 2B becomes 1. Right? Since 2b is negative, I'm going to take it to this side. Then it will be 2. When 1 is taken to the other side of the equation, it should be 2 minus 1, which is equal to 2b. 2 minus 1 is 1. If 1 is equal to 2b, b to be found, you have to cancel this 2 by dividing the two sides by 2. Then b will be half. Therefore, a is equal to 2 and b is equal to half. Right? You can make sure that you got the correct solutions by substituting. When A is 2, B is half. Half into 2 is equal to 1. 2 minus 1 is 1. Right? 3 times 2 is 6. 2 into half is 1. 6 plus 1 is 7. Solutions are true. For obtaining these two solutions, may solutions you get 2 marks each. Right? Right. The next question is from indices. But actually, this is why I call this paper as one of the best papers, 5 best papers that we find to be discussed in the second term. Right? I think it's going to be a very good experience for you to revise most of the second term lessons, rounding off, scientific notation, indices, lossy and constructions a lot. Right? Circumference අපි revise කළා, Pythagorean relation චුට්ටක් ඉගෙන ගත්තා. Right, percentages we found an application, factorization, algebraic expressions, axioms, angles, It's so good, right? Make a good on the paper, right? So this is to revise indices. Within indices, we learned some laws. When multiplying powers with equal bases, we add the indices. When dividing powers with equal bases, we subtract the indices. When you take a power of a power, we multiply the indices. Right? If it's a power with a negative index, you must make it positive. If the index is 0, the value is always 1. ඔන්න ඔය නීති ටික තමයි අපි ඉගෙන ගත්තේ. In the lesson of indices, we'll see out of these 5 laws අපිට මොන මොන දේවල් apply කරන්න තියෙයිද කියලා. පුතේ, firstly, when you get powers including numerals, separate the numbers from the algebraic powers, where you get 4 times 3 into x squared times x to the power 3 divided by 6 times x to the power minus 2. Firstly, you simplify the numerals, Pute, where you get 3 times 2, 2 times 2. 2 is the only numeral that remains. Right? ඊළඟට simplify the same level ones if they are with equal bases. Since the base of these two powers is x, you can add the indices to finalize the answer. Therefore, it should be 2 into 2 and 3 when added, it becomes x to the power 5 over x to the power minus 2. Right, then in order to simplify these two, you have two options. එකක් තමයි, as it's a division, you can subtract the indices as 5 minus minus 2. From 5, you subtract minus 2, where it becomes 5 plus 2, which is 7. ඊට වඩා පහසු ක්‍රමයක් තියෙනවා පුතේ, which is, since x to the power minus 2 is with the negative index, you can bring it up. යට හිටියොත් උඩට අරගෙන යනවා, උඩ හිටියොත් යටට අරගෙන යනවා. When the index is negative, because it's not a proper form, once you bring it up, ඔයාලට ලැබෙනවා 2 into x to the power 5 and x to the power minus 2 becoming x to the power plus 2. Then there's no denominator further. With no denominator, which is 1, you can disregard writing it. Again, you get two powers with equal bases. You add the indices. Then you get 2 into x to the power 7. Right? It's a very nice question. The next one includes a power of a power. Brackets තියෙනවා නම්, indices දෙකක් තියෙනවා නම්, multiply them. Right, here you get 2 times minus 2, which is minus 4, into a to the power 6 divided by a to the power 3. Firstly, simplify the same level ones. Right, then since it's a product of two powers with equal bases, you add the indices. Minus 4 plus 6 when added, minus 4 plus 6 will be 2. Therefore, it's a to the power 2 over a to the power 3. Now, here there are no powers with negative indices. Therefore, you must simplify them as they are. Right? As it's division of two powers with equal bases, subtract the indices. 2 minus 3 is minus 1. Therefore, it's a to the power minus 1. But you can't finalize the answer this way. As the index is negative, you must make it positive, taking upside down version. As it's already up, you take it down, then it becomes a to the power 1. Since nothing lies up, you must keep 1. But then when 1 is the numerator, you must write it. When 1 is the denominator, you can skip writing it. Right. The way to enter marks, මම ඔයාලට after the end of the discussion of the second part, මම පැහැදිලි කරන්නම්. These are the answers we got for part A and part B. This is for part A. This is for part B of the first Roman number. Right. The second part is from scientific notation. It's very good. A full lesson එකම වගේ indices වෙනම තියෙන්නේ. Scientific notation and rounding off, right? This is fully from scientific notation, Roman number 2. 3.2 into 10 to the power minus 2. Okay, 3.2 into 10 to the power minus 2 means 2 places to the left. 1, 2. This is where you leave the decimal point. With 2 zeros added, your answer will be 0.032. Right? Then B, 4.2 into 10 to the power 3. 4.2 into 10 to the power 3 means, plus 3 means 3 places to the right. 1, 2, 3. With another 2 zeros added, it will be 4200.0, 4200. Then in part 3, you have to write these numbers in scientific notation. You have to write the number between 1 and 10 as 4.95 multiplied by 1, 2, 3, 4 places to the right, 10 to the power 4. Right? You leave the decimal point between 7 and 2, then you get 7.26 into. Since it's one place to the left, it should be 10 to the power minus 1. Part C. You leave the decimal point between 3 and 6, then you get 3.68 multiplied by 1, 2, 2 places to the left, 10 to the power minus 2. Remember, if it's a 0 point value, like 0.726, 0.0368, the power will always be negative. If it's more than 1, 1 වලට වැඩි value එකක් නම්, it's going to be a positive index. Right. This is the way to enter marks for these parts. පුතේ මේකේ ලකුණු ලැබෙන්නේ මෙන්න මෙහෙම. These 5 carry 1 mark each. For these 2, 3 marks each. Right, for the total to be 11. Right. Now we are going to see the 5th question of the discussion today. Right, මේකේ දෙවෙනි කොටසත් අපිට try කරන්න පුළුවන් because we got to know what kind of a relationship is called as Pythagorean relation. The house batch is prepared for Hansa House to fix in form of their house in the interhouse. To fix in front of their house in their interhouse sports meet as given below. You have to find the radius of the large circle. පුතේ මේකේ large circle එකක් නැහැ. We have a large semicircle. මේකේ තියෙන large semicircle එකක්. Right? Since it's half of a circle, its radius will be this much. එතකොට ඒක අපි හොයාගන්න නම් you have to add 2 measurements. Since this total length is 14, these two will be 7 centimeters each. To 7, you have to add 3.5. That is the radius of the large semicircle. The answer for part A, Roman number 1, is 7 plus 3.5, which is 10.5 centimeters. Then you have to find the perimeter of the shaded part. බලන්න පුතේ. The perimeter of the shaded part is the total sum of the boundaries of it. මේක ටිකක් advanced හොඳ ප්‍රශ්නයක් පුතේ. Right, actually this diagram is available in your textbook also. If you tried this textbook activity of the lesson of circumference, ඔයාලට මේක ගැන ලොකු idea එකක් තියෙනවා පුතේ. Right, firstly we will see what the boundaries are. The arc length of the large semicircle, the arc length of the small semicircle, and the sum of 2 3.5s will make the perimeter of this diagram. Right? Therefore, firstly we will find what the arc length, right? The length of this curve of the large semicircle. Arc length of the large semicircle. Right, as it's a semicircle, it's half of a circle. It should be half of the circumference of a circle given by 2 phi r. පුතේ මෙතනදිම ඔයාලට මෙන්න මේ 2's දෙක cancel කරන්න පුළුවන්. Phi is always 22 over 7. As the radius of the large semicircle is the sum of 7 and 3.5, which is 10.5, I'm going to write it as a fraction. With only one decimal place, it's written as 105 over 10. 105 over 10. Right? Then we are not using this 10 for any simplification. It's only to write the answer as a decimal number. Right? Then if you find how many sevens are there for 105, actually 7 times 15 is 105. Then you have to multiply 22 by 15. ලස්සන උත්තරයක් ලැබෙනවා ඔයාලට as 330. 330 over 10. Since you can cancel these two zeros or separate one decimal place, it's going to be 33 centimeters. Now you can find the arc length of the small semicircle. Right? පොඩි semicircle එකේ පුතේ ලේසියෙන්ම ඔයාලට හොයන්න පුළුවන් because the radius of the small semicircle is පුතේ the diameter is 14, the radius is half of it, which is 7. Therefore, it should be half of the circumference of a full circle, semicircle nisa. With these two twos cancelled, it should be 22 over 7 into the radius is 7. Right? After these two sevens being cancelled, you get 22 centimeters. Right? To make it the perimeter for the two arc lengths, which are 33 cm and 22 cm, you have to add two 3.5s. 33 plus 22 plus 3.5 plus 3.5. The 33 plus 22 is 55. 3.5 plus 3.5 is 7. Therefore, when you add 7 to 55, it is 62. Same unit as the radius or the length. We'll see the second part of this question, which is from Pythagorean relation. When මේට ආසන්න figure එකක් ඔයාලගේ textbook එකේ තියෙනවා පුතේ. If you have learned this lesson at school, ඔයාලා ඉගෙන ගත්තා නම් මේ පාඩම ඉස්කෝලේ, ඔයාලා මේට ආසන්න activity එකක් I can't remember whether it's the same question to find P and Q. Right? The maker in my sessions it's not familiar because make up a upcoming discussion එක. You have to find P and Q. Then what to pay now? P belongs to this right angle. Then mostly in grade 9, grade 10 and 11, out of the three sides of a right angle triangle, if two sides are given to find the remaining side, we apply the Pythagorean relation. Right? Then අපි අර කලින් කොටසේ කතා කරපු විදිහට පුතේ, this is what Pythagoras said. Right? The Greek philosopher named Pythagoras. Right? එයා කිව්වා when you square the two sides including the right angle, where you have to square 8 and P, that sum is equal to the square of the hypotenuse. Therefore, you can build up an equation including P this way. For B, P squared and 8 squared when added, it becomes 10 squared. Right? Solve this equation. 8 squared is 64, 10 squared is 100. You take 64 to the other side, then it becomes 100 minus 64, which is equal to 36. Then if P squared is 36, P should be the square root of 36, which is 6 centimeters. Right? Then we know that P is 6 centimeters long. අපි හොයාගත්තා P as a 6 centimeter long side. Then in order to find K පුතේ, then Pythagorean relation, we can't apply Pythagorean relation on this triangle because it's not for this kind of triangles පුතේ. The Pythagorean relation is only for right angle triangles. Right? In the largest right angle triangle, the sides including the right angle are 8 centimeters and P plus 9, which is 6 plus 9, it's 15 centimeters. Right? Then the side which is opposite to the hypotenuse is Q. Therefore, this time we square 8, 15 and Q. The sum of the sides including the right angle will be 8 squared plus 15 squared, and the square of the hypotenuse is cube squared. 8 squared plus 15 squared equals cube squared. Simplify. 8 squared is 64, 15 squared is 225, which is equal to cube squared. ඔයාලා add කළොත් පුතේ ඔයාලට ලැබෙයි 289 කියලා. Right? But if you need to find what cube is, you have to take the square root of 289. Right? The square root of 289 is 17 centimeters. Right? දැන් ඇත්තම කතාව තමයි, if you could understand this, you are in it. But I'm going to do this lesson today. Mostly it will be an extra session which I would take next week. Right? මේක නම් ගොඩාක් හොඳ paper එකක් පුතේ. It's one of the best papers. I'm again saying, පුළුවන් නම් if you could not answer this paper on your own for any reason, අනිවාර්යෙන්ම මේක විභාගයට කලින් තව වතාවක් answer කරන්න. It's that much good. එච්චරටම හොඳ paper එකක්. Right? Okay, actually by now we have finished the discussion of 5 questions. මේක තමයි මගේ target එක උනේ. Look at the time. It has only taken 1 hour and 15 minutes to finish the discussion of a full paper, right? 20 questions of 40 marks, 5 questions making a total of 16 marks. මේකේ ලකුණු දෙන විදිය මම ඔයාලට කියන්නම් පුතේ. For identifying the radius you get 1 mark. For finding the perimeter this way, මෙන්න මේ perimeter එක හොයනවට 2 marks each for the 2 arc lengths, and for adding it the sum to 7 cm you get 1 mark. එතන ලකුණු 6ක් ලැබෙනවා පුතේ for the first part. Right? Then remaining 5 marks will be for part B, 3 marks for P, 2 marks for Q. Right. ඔන්න මේ වෙනකොට we got a total of 40 marks for the first paper, and for the second paper 16 marks for the first question, 11 marks for 4 remaining questions. The total is 60. You can finalize your mark out of 100 for the full paper. May question එක in වෙනකොට, because we answered all the questions from 1 to 5. Right? But පුතේ මම extra 5 to 10 minutes වගේ අරගෙන I'm going to explain you a graphs question which is going to be our following discussion. අනේ මේකේ angles question එකක් තියෙනවානේ. Right? අපි ඒක try කරමු. graph එක අපිට කතා කරන්න තව කල් තියෙනවානේ. Right? In the diagram, PQ is bisected. Now, if you have, I'm sorry, ඔයාලා මේක උත්සාහ කළා නම් අනිවාර්යෙන් මේකත් consider කරන්න when you finalize your marks. You select, disregarding the first one which is compulsory, ඉතුරු අපි කතා කරන ප්‍රශ්න පහෙන් ඔයාලා අනිවාර්යෙන්ම වැඩිපුරම ලකුණු තියෙන questions 4 තෝරගන්න to get your mark finalized, right? අපි යමු මේ question එකට. I'm sorry, මට ඒක ෂුට්ටක් මග ඇරුණා. PQ is bisected. PQ is the bisector of SPR. ඔන්න බලන්න පුතේ what it says. PQ is the bisector of SPR. ඔන්න. If PQ is the bisector, a bisector divides an angle or a side into 2 equal parts. Therefore, when PQ is the bisector, RPQ and SPQ should be equal. If PQ is the bisector, RPQ should be equal to SPQ. ඒක ඔයාලට curve එකකින් mark කරගන්න පුළුවන්. And PS and RQ are parallel. You have to name 2 angles which are equal to SPQ. SPQ කියන්නේ මෙන්න මෙයා පුතේ. Sorry. This is angle SPQ. Right? Already you can see one angle which is equal to SPQ. Right? According to data provided, Roman number 1, SPQ is equal to RPQ, that's data. ඒක අපිට ප්‍රශ්නේ දීලා තියෙන දෙයක්, as PQ is the bisector. There's another angle which becomes equal to SPQ because of the parallelism. මෙන්න තියෙනවා එයා. ඒ තියෙන්නේ a pair of alternate angles if it is PQR. You must give the reason. Pairs of alternate angles. Pairs of alternate angles. I'm writing the, I'll be writing the short form. You must write the full form. Right. Then you have to name an angle equal to SPT. අපි බලමු කවුද SPT කියන්නේ කියලා. SPT. Right. Since it's like an outsider, outsiders අපිට සාමාන්‍යයෙන් හම්බෙන්නේ පුතින් corresponding angles. Therefore, SPT becomes equal to PR give as a pair of F-type corresponding angles. SPT is equal to PR give as a pair of corresponding angles. Right? Okay. Then part 3 is to write the relationship with KIF PT and the interior angles of a triangle. What is KIF PT? Right. මෙන්න මෙයා තමයි පුතේ KIF PT කියන්නේ. If you are going to relate this to the interior angles of a triangle, you can see that there's only one triangle here, which is RP KIF. Right. With respect to RP KIF triangle, KIF PT is an exterior angle. Then here you have to apply the exterior angle theorem. The angle adjacent to KIF PT is RP KIF. You disregard that. The remaining two will be PR KIF and P KIF R. Therefore, the relationship is between the exterior angle and its interior opposite angles, which are PR KIF and P KIF R. Therefore, we write KIF PT is equal to the sum of PR KIF and P KIF R. You must give the reason as exterior angle theorem. Exterior angle theorem. Right. Right. We'll see how to enter marks for these parts after the discussion of the remaining part of the question also. Right. You have to find the value of A and X according to the information given. Puthe, you can follow any order when finding A and X. අපි මීට ආසන්න ප්‍රශ්නයක් in this week's theory discussion we discussed, right? එක ක්‍රමයක් තමයි you can find the value of X firstly by using the sum of a pair of allied angles because of the parallelism of these two sides. Therefore, this is part A, this is part B. X plus 135 is equal to 180 degrees as a pair of allied angles. Right? Then when you subtract 135 from 180, බලන්න ඔයාලට ලැබෙනවද කියලා 45 degrees. Right? Then in order to find A, you have several options. එකක් තමයි you can find this adjacent angle as 45 degrees. So if X is 45, A is this angle is also 45 degrees, then you can use the interior angles of a triangle to find what A is. මම හිතන්නේ මේ ක්‍රමය ඔයාලට තේරුම් ගන්න පහසුයි පුතේ. Right? Then you can name this angle as Y. හැබැයි එහෙම mark කරනවා නම් Y කියලා you must sketch the diagram to your answer sheet because otherwise teacher does not know what Y is. Right? ඒ නිසා ඒක copy කරලා ඔයාලා Y ව mark කරන්න. එහෙම නැත්නම් you can name this angle originally as LNM. LNM is also equal to 45 as a pair of alternate angles. X and 45 is a pair of alternate angles, Z-type angles because of parallelism. Now you can build up an equation for the sum of the interior angles of the triangle as A plus 45 degrees plus 70 degrees is equal to 180. That is because of sum of the interior angles of a triangle. 45 plus 70 is equal to 115 degrees, which is equal to 180 degrees. And by subtracting 115 balanna, whether you got 65 for A. Right. This is how you get marks for these questions. පුතේ ලකුණු ලැබෙන්නේ මෙන්න මේ part C එකක් එහෙම නෑ නේද? No, there's no part C. This is how you get marks for these questions, පුතේ. 2 marks, 2 marks, 2 marks. Remember, you must give the reasons. With no reasons, you get only half. That means 1 each. Pute, I can't decide by how many steps you got XO, how many steps you got A. Therefore, මම මෙහෙම ලකුණු දෙන්නම්. For finding A or X, firstly, ඔයාලා මුලින්ම හොයන කෙනාට ලකුණු 3ක් enter කරගන්න. Because you use that to find what the other angle is. Therefore, the other one should carry only 2 marks. Right. Finally, now you are ready to get your marks finalized. මොකද අපිට කරන්න පුළුවන් උපරිමය අපි මේ වෙනකොට කතා කරලා තියෙන්නේ පුතේ. Right? Now, but since I'm going to take only 5 minutes time to introduce which kind of questions you get from graphs. මේ graph එක අඳින එක විතරක් මම ඔයාලත් එක්ක කතා කරනවා. As I explained to you at the beginning of the discussion in the first paper, when you write an equation for y and x with y, the subject, y ne දැන් මෙතන boss වගේ තනියම ඉන්න කෙනා. Right? Therefore, when you have an equation for y given in terms of x, අපි යාට ලස්සන නමක් දෙනවා පුතේ function කියලා. Right? Since y and x have a relationship, may y and x can y coordinates and x coordinates on a straight line කියන එක. They have the same relationship. That's why that relationship is given as an equation. Right? Therefore, when you draw a graph for a given equation, සාමාන්‍යයෙන් ඔයාලට ලැබෙනවා මෙන්න මේ වගේ table එකක් fill කරන්න. Right? With some values of x to find what y is. Right? Then මෙතන ඔයාලට දීලා නැහැ what y is when x is minus 2 and when x is minus 1. Right? Since y is given as 2x minus 4, මේක අපි ඉගෙන ගන්නවා ලබන සතියේ. We'll find what y is when x is minus 2 this way. Roman number 1. මේ substitution පුතේ. Y is equal to 2x minus 4. X කියන්නේ minus 2 නම් it should be 2 times minus 2 minus 4. 2 times minus 2 is minus 4. Minus 4 minus 4 is minus 8. Then you have to find what y is when x is minus 1. Same substitution. Y equals 2x minus 4. This time x is minus 1. 2 into minus 1 minus 4. 2 times minus 1 is minus 2. Minus 2 minus 4 is equal to minus 6. Then මේක ඔයාලට ඔයාලගේ table එකට add කරගන්න පුළුවන් පුතේ if you have got the printed copy. Minus 8 minus 6. Then ඔයාලට පේනවා x is usually introduced gradually. ක්‍රමානුකූලව තමයි අපිට x සාමාන්‍ය ලැබෙන්නේ minus 3 minus 2 minus 1 0 1 2 පිළිවෙලට. And when you consider y, you can see that it's in a pattern. Minus 10, minus 8, minus 6, minus 4, minus 2, and 0. Increment of 2. එකක් number pattern එකක් පුතේ. මෙන්න මේ pattern එක ඔයාලට ලැබෙනවා නම් x coordinates gradually, y coordinates in a pattern, any pattern පුතේ with a common difference. That means your solutions are correct. Then when you draw the graph for the function පුතේ, graph එකක් කියන්නේ you plot these points. Minus 3 minus 10, minus 2 minus 8, minus 1 minus 6, x coordinate, y coordinate, x coordinate, y coordinate, x coordinate, y coordinate as points you plot on a Cartesian plane. විභාගෙදී අපිට graph sheets නැහැ පුතේ නම් මේ වසරේදී. Therefore, we are going to draw it in a foolscap or a square grid like this. එතකොට ඔයාලට මම දීලා තියෙනවා පුතේ physical students ලන්ට නම් the booklet to write the answers. The online students, you may have got a square grid where you can draw the graph. Graph sheet එකක් මෙතනදී අවශ්‍ය වෙන්නේ නැහැ පුතේ. Right, අපි ඒක class එකේදී පුරුදු වෙමු. So when you graduate the x and y axis, you have to look at the range. X නම් ලොකු range එකක නැහැ. Therefore, you can take 2 kgs as 1 unit. If you are using a foolscap, අර ruler එක පාවිච්චි කරලා 1 cm each වගේ measure කරගෙන divide your axis into equal gaps පුතේ. Whatever the numbering is, හරියට බෙදා ගන්න. But y is with more negatives පුතේ. y ගේ වැඩිපුරම ඉන්නේ negatives nisa, you can have more space for negatives of y with less space for positives of y. ඒ නිසා අපි axes දෙක අඳිමු including these points. Right, I'm going to keep more space for negatives of y. x වනම් අපිට ලස්සනට balance වෙන්න අඳින්න පුළුවන්. right? You can take 2 divisions as 1 along x. 1, 2. If you are using a full scap, 1 cm වගේ mark කරගන්න as the gap between two consecutive points. -1, -2, -3, -4, -5, and -6. This is the x-axis. Then along the y-axis, 1, 2, 3, 4 විදිහට mark කරන්න ගියොත් නම් you'll have to mark a lot of numbers because it's up to -10. I'm going to mark it as 2, 4, 6, 8. -2, -4, -6, -8, -10. තව එකක් වගේ මම add කරන්නම් -12. Actually, you don't need negatives. So you don't need positives. But I'm going to keep some added. 1, 2, sorry, 2, 4, 6, 8 නේ අපි ගත්තේ. 2, 4, 6, 8. This is the y-axis. Origin must be marked with 0. But it's not compulsory to use the same way of graduating the two axes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 4, 6, 8 come up now. Then plotting points. The first point to be plotted is -3, -10. -3, -10. The next point is -2, -8. -1, -6. 0, -4. 1, -2. Sorry, 1, -2. And 2, 0. Balanna, when you connect these points together, what you get is a straight line. පුතේ මෙන්න මේකට තමයි අපි කියන්නේ the graph of this function කියලා. මේ හැඩයට මේ line එකට අපි කියනවා the graph of the function කියලා. Now we'll write some characteristics that we can notice. Then ඔයාලට පේනවා this graph intersects the y-axis at -4. Right? And we can see -4 in our function also, right? Which we called as the intercept in the first paper. Right? -4 is a number added to the x term. Therefore, intercept as you can identify through the graph. Right? This is the intercept. මෙයාට තමයි අපි intercept එක කියලා කියන්නේ. Right? Okay. Then අපි ටක් ගාලා පහලින් ලියාගමු what the gradient and the intercept of this function are. When the function is in the form of y equals mx plus c, the multiplier of x is the gradient. The number which is added is the intercept. Gradient given by m, intercept given by c. Right? ඔය ඇති පුතේ දැනට. Right? Now you know how to answer basically a graphs question. Substitution to find unknown values, drawing a suitable Cartesian plane to plot the points, connecting them together. ඔයාලට අනිවාර්යයෙන්ම ලැබෙන in grade 9 a straight line. ඒතර මේ ටිකටම ඔයාලට ලකුණු 4ක් 5ක්වත් ලැබෙනවා පුතේ. Right, I'm not going to answer the rest of the questions. This is just to introduce the concept of graphs. Right, මේකට ලකුණු enter කරගන්න එපා පුතේ. It's just an introduction. Right, එහෙනම් ඔන්න පුතේ by 1 hour and 33 minutes time බලන්න අපි ප්‍රශ්න කීයක් කතා කළාද කියලා. Right, actually we did 6.5 questions. Right, හැබැයි ඔයාලට පැය දෙකක් ලැබෙනවා to answer only first paper plus 5 questions of the second paper. ඒතර මේ දැනුම ඔයාලට තියෙනවා නම් actually this is a very good paper for you to try for another time. ඒ තරමටම හොඳ paper එකක් before your examination. Right, එහෙනම් thank you very much for watching this video. Then we'll see next time in a live discussion. Right, for that please keep the other paper answered. Right, එහෙනම් until we meet next time for the discussion of the graphs lesson in the theory class, have a nice week, stay safe, goodbye.